Okay. So I think at this point, it will be good to go back and start to link some of this up with the experience as well as some of these Buddhist concepts, because I'm guessing you all are very well grounded in this. So I think I will start. I'm going to try. I'm just trying to think if it makes the most sense to get, yeah, let's go this way. Okay. So if we look at the most, I would say one of the most profound and probably one of the most challenging of the Buddhist models and teachings is around dependent origination. And I say profound because theoretically, this is, and is, are you all seeing this? Is my screen being shared?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so let me make sure that whatever didn't work actually works. So the dependent origination was the concept that the Buddha was reportedly contemplating on the night of his enlightenment. So that sounds kind of important. You know, this is what the Buddha became enlightened by, was, you know, contemplating dependent origination. It wasn't going into the jhanas. He'd done that. He'd nailed those. Those didn't bring him awakening. So I'm going to show you kind of a simplified version of this, of what this looks like. So you would think of anything coming in through our sense stores, they get interpreted by the mind as generally pleasant or unpleasant. You can also add neutral into this. And then when there are pleasant things, so let's use Dana Small's chocolate experiment. Ooh, my favorite chocolate. I want some, you know, and I want some more after I taste how good it is. Or if I get too much of my favorite chocolate, this is unpleasant. And I have an aversion. I have a craving for this to go away. And so we act accordingly. We ask for more, or we ask for the experimenter to stop. And then according to the, you know, the Pali Canon, this leads to, so there's this Vedana, this feeling tone that leads to craving, which then leads to what's described, upadana can be translated as clinging or fuel. And the clinging piece, I think, fits pretty well here, because the more we hold on to things, like that behavior of holding on, this can lead to the birth of a self, where if I eat some chocolate, then I start to identify with, ooh, I'm somebody who likes chocolate. If I'm a college professor, I start to identify with, ooh, I'm a college professor. And so if you look back at this, who are you? This who are you can come from doing certain behaviors, especially repeating behaviors that keep pleasant feelings going and make unpleasant feelings go away. In this sense, you know, they didn't talk about memory explicitly in the Pali Canon, but if you link this up with modern day psychology, how do we know who we are, you know, when we wake up in the morning? It's because we've laid down memories. And typically, the more charged the memory, the more emotional it is, the more likely we are to remember it. You know, if we had a birthday party where it was a surprise party, you know, you might remember when you were really surprised by a birthday party years ago because it was so charged. Wow, I never expected this. Or if there's something really, really scary, you know, some traumatic event that gets burned into your brain as well. And those are there to, you know, through these basic survival mechanisms of reinforcement learning. So if you look at modern day psychology, this is called positive and negative reinforcement. We've talked about that before. If you look at the ancient Buddhist psychology, interestingly, the first link, and it's really not the first one because it's a cycle, but you got to start somewhere when you're explaining it. The first link is described as ignorance. We're not seeing the world clearly. I'm going to use a pair of glasses here because in modern day, we call that subjective bias. We start to see the world through the lens of our previous experience. Now, that's really, really, really important. We start to become biased based on our previous experience, based on these survival mechanisms. Yet these survival mechanisms somehow can get us into trouble as well. The more we start identifying with our behaviors, and these behaviors can be mental, they can be physical. The more we identify with thoughts, the more we identify with views, that the Buddha talked about, one of his lists was about all the things that cause suffering, and attachment to views was high on that list. One way to kind of simplify all of this, or to get to the essence, is I love this part of the sutta from Majjhima Nikaya 19, where the Buddha, or the Pali Canon, they talk about whatever, and I put a person, but it was a monk or nun, frequently thinks and ponders upon, that will become the inclination of the mind. So the more we start thinking, I am this, I am not that, the more that becomes the inclination of our minds. Or in modern day, Alan Watts put it this way, that we form an ego. The self, which he has believed himself to be, is nothing but a pattern of habits.